Hello citizens and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to give you an introduction to the updated salvage mechanics and hull munching. As always, if you like this video, sacrifice a like and a comment to the YouTube algorithm and subscribe for more. And here's a shout out to our amazing patrons for their support of the channel and the Armory. This video is going to be focused on salvaging with the Vulture and the Reclaimer. If you want to learn how to salvage and repair with the multi-tool, I recommend you go watch my previous tutorial, a link to which is going to be appearing on the screen right about now. Timestamps for the two salvage ships in this video are included in the description. First, let me briefly cover the changes to salvage. First of all, we now have the ability to break down and salvage entire ships, not just scrape their hulls. On the Vulture, this adds two different tools to the salvage mode. On the Reclaimer, new capabilities added to the co-pilot seat, which is now turned into the claw operator seat. Second, salvage ships now have a much larger dispenser capacity, meaning that you can salvage more before you need to dispense the salvage into containers. This was done to allow hull munching as it generates a significant amount of material. On top of this, the Reclaimer can now produce multiple sizes of salvage crates. Now let's take a look at how salvage works with the Vulture. After accepting a salvage contract, once you arrive to the salvage location, press M to enter salvage mode. You will notice several changes to the UI. Over here, you will see the modules installed on each of your salvage heads and which one of them is active. You will notice that by default, one of the heads is equipped with a tractor beam module in the second slot. You will also notice a new display showing which tool is active at the moment. By holding left Alt and pressing A or D, you can switch focus to only one of the salvage heads. You can use this to switch modules with the right mouse button or to operate the heads independently. You focus back to both salvage heads by holding left Alt and pressing S. This will also return you to the scraping mode. Clicking the right mouse button with both heads focused will switch modules on both. You can also change the distance between the two salvage beams by holding left Alt and scrolling, but there is no indicator showing the current distance. Now you can start scraping the hull by pressing the left mouse button. Pay attention to the two circular indicators. These show how much material is left under the beams and how much material you are extracting. If the indicator empties, you need to move the beams to another part of the ship. You will also notice the dispenser capacity filling up. When you are satisfied with how much you scraped, you can switch to fracturing mode by holding left Alt and pressing W. Pressing the left mouse button will activate the fracture field. Point it at the ship and watch the fracture indicator fill up. Coming closer to the target ship speeds up the process, but be careful not to collide with the ship. Once complete, the target ship will break apart into multiple pieces and the fracture field will shut off on its own. You can now switch to the disintegration mode by holding the right Alt and pressing S. The disintegration field will extract all chunks that are in range. You can increase the speed and yield of disintegration by pointing at the chunk you want to extract. You can use the displayed value as a guide. The size of ships you can fracture with the Vulture is limited. The largest ship I was able to make it work with is the MSR, but there was a considerable amount of material wasted. Because if the chunk you're disintegrating is bigger than the available storage, the rest will be wasted. When you're done extracting, the process is the same as in the previous patches. You have to go down to the cargo hold, select which material to eject, and then stack the boxes. You can also check the auto eject option and then the dispenser will eject boxes of the selected material until there is none left. And then you can go sell your salvage. If you have a friend who has a cargo ship, you can offload the salvage in space and have your friend sell it while you keep salvaging. This is a great way to increase profit and allow yourself to take on larger salvage. But now let's move on to the king of salvage, the Reclaimer. Much like the Vulture, the Reclaimer had some changes added in the latest salvage update. First of all, the salvage dispensers can now produce larger boxes, but we will get to that later. It also has increased dispenser storage of 240 SCU. And finally, the big salvage arm has been converted into a fracture and disintegration field generator. With these changes, it's actually pretty comfortable to run the Reclaimer on your own, but I would recommend you bring 1 or 2 more people to make things go a bit smoother. The bridge of the Reclaimer has 4 seats. 1 is the pilot seat, 1 is the arm operator seat, and 2 are the salvage operator seats. And that's where we will start. The salvage beam operator seats are on the left and the right side of the bridge. The main difference is that the Salvage beam is a remote turret, so you will have to power on the station and then enter the remote turret. From here, the process is the same as with the Vulture. Right-click to switch the modules and left-click to turn the Salvage beam on and off. From here, you can start scraping the hull of the ship you're salvaging. Once again, you're going to see the circular beam indicator. Once you're done, we can move on to the claw operator station. This seat is to the right of the pilot seat. Power on the station and press M to deploy the arm. The arm has two modes, fracture and disintegration. You can switch modes by pressing the right mouse button. Select the fracture mode and activate it by pressing the left mouse button. When the field is active, the indicator will turn green and you will see fracture indicators on all ships in range that can be fractured. Depending on the size of the target and your position, this might take a while. You can coordinate with the pilot to get closer and increase the speed of fracturing. Once the ship is fractured, you can use the right mouse button to switch to the disintegration field and the left mouse button to turn it on. You will see disintegration indicators on each chunk in range. The arm can't be moved, so that's why it's nice to bring another person to position the ship to capture all the chunks. Now we can move on to the final position, which is the cargo handler. Make your way down to the salvage processing deck. Here you're going to find two salvage dispensers. The screen on the size of the dispenser will allow you to select which material to eject and what size of a container to eject it in. Your options range from 1 SCU to 16 SCU. Keep in mind that larger boxes take longer to make and are more difficult to move. Once the box is created, you can then use a tractor beam to move it around. It is also possible to use the elevator to transport the boxes to the lower cargo deck for storage. The lower floor of the salvage processing deck doesn't have a cargo grid, but you can use it to store salvage components. You can also use the elevator to take the boxes outside and load them onto a cargo ship to transport and sell. This would save you having to land the reclaimer, but it's not necessary. And that's all you need to know to get salvaging. And that will be all for tonight. Post any questions you have in the comments or join the Armory Discord to get help from experienced citizens. Thank you for watching, fly safe, and I will see you in the verse.